Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. It's your latest transfer news and we're talking about Defenders of the Earth. Defenders. If you remember that, you're cool and old. But we are talking defenders on the show this morning as we bring you all the latest transfer news from Spurs to Manchester United, Arsenal to Liverpool. There's loads to get into, Chelsea featuring a lot as well. But before we do all of that, today's show is sponsored by our friends at OneFootball. I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about OneFootball loads of times, but that begs the question, why have you not downloaded it and been using it to keep up with all the latest football transfer news and normal news in the UK around the world? I use OneFootball as my number one destination for football news, transfer updates, player data, and of course the latest match day scores. I don't know what magic they've got going on at OneFootball, but I always get my score notifications fastest with OneFootball. So if you want to be the most informed football fan in the world, then head to the description or scan the QR code on screen and download OneFootball today, totally for free. Thank you very much to OneFootball for supporting us as always, and as I say, you can scan the QR code with your phone or download it through the link in the description. It's free on Apple, Android and all your other devices. Let's fly straight into this latest transfer news then, and we are going to start off talking about defenders. Gabriel to Juventus, Aki's now staying at Man City. Where will Chelsea go for their second centre-back to play with Koulibaly, or bring in with Koulibaly? Obviously we've had Tuchel refusing Ronaldo, we'll talk about that. But we're going to start off with Spurs. I don't know whether you saw it last night. David Ornstein was talking about a breakthrough in the talks between Middlesbrough Spurs and Djed Spence. What a season he had last year. I think he was in the Championship team of the season, but he was certainly a very, very, very exciting player in the Championship. Nottingham Forest getting promoted, of course. We had James Garner on loan there from Manchester United, and we're very hopeful that he's going to have a big season for us. But Spence is going to go to Spurs, and again, I'm very impressed with Spurs. I think Chelsea are going to have a good transfer window. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal did. Hopefully United still will. We know that Liverpool, Man City are the teams that everyone's trying to catch. But I think Spurs with Conte into the Champions League, they've had a very, very progressive summer transfer window, leaving players back at home like Reguilon and Harry Winks that he wants to move on, and getting players in like Richarlison and Bissouma and Perisic, and now Djed Spence is coming in. They brought in Longley, I think, on loan as well, a goalkeeper. So you can see what he's doing. He's building squad depth, but also bringing players in that he thinks he can really add to that team in key matters, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Spurs start the season. But I think this deal is going to be around 12 million, rising to 20 million in add-ons. Those add-ons are going to be things like England caps and maybe qualifying for the Champions League and things like that. So they're very good add-ons for Spurs to have, and I don't think they'll mind paying £20 million for a right-back if he hits those things. So it's a very good deal for Spurs, and he's a very interesting player in a situation where we've got so many good right-backs in England, whether it's Trent, Reece James, there are many others as well, and now you can add Djed Spence into that. Spurs, his first job is to get that right-back position at Spurs, grow in that position. Probably got one of the best managers in the world as a defender to grow with as well. I mean, the way that they play, you are, Djed Spence, I think, is a fullback that really is exciting going forward. And in a Spurs system, that's what Conte wants his fullbacks to do. So the interesting thing for him is whether he's going to get straight into the team, how long that will take, and how well he's going to do in the Premier League. So I and many other United fans, I think even Arsenal fans, would have been interested in this if our clubs had been interested. So I think it's a good signing for Spurs, and one to certainly keep an eye on. Arsenal, Gabriel. Dreams can come true. Look at me, I'm going to Juventus too. Is he going to Juventus too? I don't know. I personally feel that Gabriel is better than Ben White. I thought Ben White and Gabriel last season showed a lot of promise as a centre-back pairing that actually looked quite solid, which for the last 10 years is not something you can say about Arsenal. So I would be very surprised if Arsenal were going to let him go. Apparently Juventus want him for 40 million. They are about to lose De Ligt, so it does make sense. Arsenal have been looking at Lisandro Martinez, and you can think, well, maybe this was part of the plan then. Maybe Gabriel was going to go. Lisandro Martinez comes in as a left-footed, left-sided centre-back. He was fantastic for Ajax. He's now coming to Manchester United. Woohoo. So maybe there is something in this Gabriel thing, but I would say, why is there something in this? Is this Arsenal raising money? Is this Arteta saying he doesn't really want him? Did Arteta not buy Gabriel as well? I mean, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I seem to remember United being linked to him 2 summers ago, which means he would have been an Arteta signing. So what is this all about? Is this the player pushing the move? He wants to go and play in Italy? I don't get that. But 40 million, it would be a bit of a profit on a player that you bought for, 20, 25? But I don't think Arsenal should be selling players like that. I think he's a centre back that, all right, he's got a mistake in him every now and again, but I've actually been quite impressed with him. I think he's one of the few Arsenal signings, defenders-wise, in recent years that's actually been a success. So I'd be surprised if something happens with that. We'll have to wait and see. Aki to Chelsea is off. David Ornstein this morning saying that all parties have agreed it's not a deal to do. He will stay at Man City. I actually think this could be a good thing for Chelsea. I don't actually think Aki is that good. I had this argument with some City fans last year on a watch-along. I don't think he's that good. I think he's got lots of mistakes in him. I think he's okay. I don't think he's like, oh, let's sign him for Chelsea and we're going to win the league. So I think Chelsea may have... Depends who they go for. I think Koulibaly is going to be a very good signing. And obviously they've lost Christensen and Rudiger. They do need to bring somebody else in. But, you know, I think Kimpembe is a better player than Aki. I really do. And I know some people think, oh, no, he's protected in the league, in the French league and everything. But I do think he's better than Aki. And I think if that's where they're going to go... and I do think there are other options out there that are better as well. So Pau Torres is better than Aki and he's left-footed. So there are options for Chelsea. I think I'd keep an eye on Pau Torres. I don't know whether Spurs are going to go for him. Man United, were going to go for him. Now we're not. Pau Torres is available for about 40 million quid. He's won the Europa League. He's a Spanish international. He's left-footed. He's in his mid-20s. I think he's a really, really good player in a Chelsea or Spurs system where you are playing three centre-backs and you're not necessarily, you know, playing with two. I think he'd work well in that system. And for 40 million quid, maybe Chelsea go there now. Because suddenly that defensive line looks very good. Koulibaly, Thiago Silva, Pau Torres, you know, they have got other options as well. But I think that looks good. And to be fair... If you'd said to a Chelsea fan, would you replace Rudiger and Christensen with Koulibaly and Pau Torres? I don't think anybody wants to lose Rudiger, but that's not bad replacements. They may still go for Kimpembe and swerve Torres, but Torres might end up at Spurs, I suppose. Maybe he'll stay at Villarreal, but that's one certainly to look at. And of course, yesterday we had this Chelsea brief as well, which was really interesting. I'd heard in the morning that Chelsea were not in for Ronaldo and there was going to be some announcement. I was like, this is a bit weird, announcing that you're not in for a player. And then sure enough, midday hit, and it was like Romano mentioned it, a few other people mentioned it, all in the same minute. And I was like, this is a brief. This is an official brief from somebody, whether it's Ronaldo's side or Chelsea's side, to say that deal's not happening. I can only respect it. I did predict this last week. What did I say? I said Thomas Tuchel is very close to Ralf Rangnick, and Ralf Rangnick and Ronaldo didn't get on. And maybe Rangnick's had a chat with Tuchel and said, look, he'll score your goals, but, you know, it might not be what you're looking for to build your team around. I think Ronaldo would have scored a lot of goals for Chelsea. I think he would have been a very, very good signing for Chelsea. But I'm very glad he's not going to Chelsea because I don't want him playing in the Premier League for anyone else other than Man United. He may well still go to Bayern Munich. That's my concern. I'm glad he's not going to Chelsea. And I can respect why Tuchel's not done it. I think, you know, you've got to do what you think's best for your team. But I think he would have been a very interesting player for Chelsea. 18 goals in a terrible United side. I watched Chelsea over the last couple of years. They're crying out for somebody who can finish. I think you put Ronaldo in that Chelsea side, he would have scored you 30 goals. And I think Tuchel knew that. But I think it's the long-term vision, you know, potential disruption. You know, it's... Ronaldo is a fantastic player. He is still a fantastic player. But... you know, he has very high standards and that can be disruptive. At United, it's been disruptive because the players are rubbish. But at Chelsea, you know, they have won Champions Leagues and things. It might have worked, but obviously it's not going to work. So there we go. What else did I talk about? Zinchenko to Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, I forgot about that one. It's all about defenders today. Zinchenko to Arsenal. Well, Man City seem to be shedding a few players. Sterling, Jesus. I mean, they're very consistent performers, whether they're bench players or rotational players or first-team players. Sterling and Jesus, you know what you get in at Man City. So I'm intrigued to see what the plan is from Man City next season. I mean, Pep knows what he's doing. I think if you're someone like Jack Grealish, you must be quite excited because there's a lot more game time. I'd be very interested if Barcelona still think they're getting Bernardo Silva, by the way, because I absolutely cannot see Man City letting Bernardo Silva go. They can't lose three forwards and just buy Haaland. I know they've got some young players coming through. But Zinchenko, you know, Zinchenko's a steady player for Man City. And if you're a steady player for Man City who are winning league titles and going deep into the Champions League, you're a decent player. So I think Zinchenko to Arsenal would be a good deal. I presume this is because Tierney's always injured and he can play in multiple positions. But it'd be an interesting signing that. I think it'd be a good signing for Arsenal, to be fair. And I guarantee Man City will probably get good money. But there's still legs left in this transfer window. Chelsea have still got money to spend. I think Arsenal still got money to spend. Man City will, I think, after Zinchenko's gone, I think Cucurella goes there from Brighton. I think he's going to be a really good signing for them. So there is still some deals to be done, but everyone's on tour. Everyone's approaching that Premier League season. 3 weeks today. 3 weeks today it starts. Arsenal, Friday night football. Yeah, get your comments in below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to download OneFootball. It's free to do it. Link in the chat or scan your QR code. And yeah, smash a like on the video, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. What are your thoughts on everything there? Spence, Aki staying at Man City, Gabriel to Juventus, Zinchenko to Arsenal, Ronaldo not going to Chelsea. Loads to talk about. Get your comments in below. I'll speak to you soon.